Okay, so we're here today with Katherine Wright from Discount Vouchers. Hello, Katherine, how are you?
Hi, Julie. I'm really good. How are you?
Yes, absolutely fine. So, can you just tell us a little bit about your role at Discount Vouchers? What do you do?
Sure. So I'm the managing director of Discount Vouchers. It's not my business. I'm running it for a couple of guys who have lots of different projects on the go. But Discount Vouchers started back in 2009, was an arbitrage project, sort of bidding on pizza vouchers, keywords, providing all the vouchers for high street merchants and restaurants. And it wasn't long before we realised the value of an email, and we were probably some of the first people in this space to realise that our email database was going to be, where we could probably drive our biggest revenue from. So at the moment, we actually have 1.6 million subscribers, but we only send to people who are really engaged, who like to open the emails, click, and use the vouchers. So we're emailing to around about 800,000 people at the moment, but that's the crux of our business. We're email marketers.
Wow, okay. And the head office, is it based in Norwich?
It's not. So the owners of the business, one is based in Lichfield, which is quite close to Birmingham. Another is based down in Lightwater in Surrey. And then I run the business from here. I originally took the job in London and then relocated the kind of day-to-day running of it back to Norwich. We're quite spread out. We could all work remotely from home if we want to, but we do actually have an office in Norwich at Ruan House.
Yeah, and there's a good team that work together, yes?
Yeah, brilliant. We're quite a small team. At the moment, there's three of us in the office every day. Our techie guy, our developer, is based in Milton Keynes. We've got somebody who works 4 hours a day for us in Devon, and Kirsty will be coming back from maternity leave in about 2 weeks' time, which I can't wait for.
Oh, lovely. So it is quite a small team.
Yeah.
And can I ask you about, because this is about company culture, do you have a particular company culture for Discount Vouchers?
We do. I mean, so efficiency is a massive driver for us. The business once had 28 people, then it had 12. And so at the moment, we'll be running when Kirsty comes back on 4.5 people. And the way we've done that is we've automated loads of things. And something that our directors always say to us is, you can dig me the same hole in 4 hours or 10 hours. It's up to you. So we just try and look at the most efficient ways we can do that, really. We don't class it as being lazy. It just means we can focus on more of the creative parts of the day-to-day rather than, just doing the really boring bits. So we automate anything boring. And so efficiency is a big one for us. The other thing is testing out new ideas because we're so small. If you look at like voucher codes, they've got 140 people.
Wow.
So if they want to implement something, you can imagine, it's a bit of a bigger creature. There's a lot more that they have to do there. Whereas, if Ross comes up with, as he did, when he had some training with you, if he says, right, we have to do Facebook Live, I have to try and find some makeup in my handbag. And if he wants to do one, that's it. Then we just give it a go and we can see how much traction we get. We might not get it perfect the first time, but a lot of what we do is testing something out. And if we see a bit of traction, then we know to build a plan around it.
So it's like everybody is involved in the whole of Discount Vouchers. It's just not in departments.
Yeah, they kind of need to be honest with you. Everybody has their speciality, but everybody, really needs to bring something to the table in terms of ideas and in terms of moving forward, because like most of digital, it's a really competitive and fast moving space that we work in.
So would you say then that your employees are really engaged in what they do?
It feels like they are. We all come in the morning, get a drink, and, we'll all talk about what we've read and whether that's politics or, what we've been reading on TechCrunch, something about Tesla that's come out, So we all have, quite a lot of conversations, and I think that keeps the engagement levels up because we are all interested in, in the industry and tech and just business in general, So it's, I think because we're always talking of those things, ideas just naturally come out, We'll say, oh, we could actually do that. Or I opened an email today and they were using GIFs and some real-time location, so we could try that. So, yeah, I think it certainly feels to me like they're engaged. We all have down days, don't we?
Yeah. So are you constantly researching what's going on out there and what's new and what's happening, and then trying some of that and implementing it into Discount Vouchers?
Yes, constantly.
And do the employees, your employees, do they do that naturally themselves, or are they led by somebody to do that?
I think just because of the conversation that we have in the office, and even we're in a shared office, so we've got a couple of procurement guys in there, there's another couple of startups. So, it's quite natural for those things to come out in conversation. Of course, my team members could choose to not take part in the conversation, to not be forthcoming with ideas, but I just think it's an environment that breeds those suggestions. And once you've signed up to all the other discounts newsletters and start opening them, you start to think like, oh, they're all the same. What other things could we do that's different? So those suggestions just seem to kind of naturally come.
And with Ross, so you mentioned Ross, and he's your social media guy now, is he?
He is, yeah.
Yes. So is he doing other things as well? Is he primarily on social media?
So he does our website admin.
Yeah.
So any of the offers that need manually loading, that need sending for sign off, because we're dealing with Sky, AA, RAC, lots of people who we need to make sure that all of our copy is completely compliant with. So he'll send things to them. And then, so he probably does about 50-50, I would say, with his time.
And you gave him a real free rein, really, didn't you? You said, go off, learn as much as you can, come back and bring it into Discount Vouchers. So is that how you operate quite a lot?
Yeah, I mean, really, it's to try and get people to take ownership and have a bit of autonomy over what they're doing, because I found that that's when I'm the most engaged with my work, and when I enjoy it the most is actually if it's not really prescribed and by a timetable. Of course, there's a risk factor with that.
Yeah.
Somebody could just, sit on Facebook all day, but in this instance, that, is a good thing. And so our response time to messages on Facebook, it says need to say.
So I've got my work office dog here who's just heard something. So that was Josie, the office dog.
Hey, Josie.
Shh, be quiet. Sorry, Catherine. So with regards to employees and attracting them to your organisation, how do you go about doing that?
So the ways that I've found, my really great members of staff is just by looking either on social media locally at people who are posting really often, and also the people that are going to the local events. So I go to Sync Norwich. I normally go to anything that's on at White Space, and that's just from chatting to people. Whenever I have advertised and I've put a job out onto Indeed and I get lots of CVs through from there, quite a lot of time people say that they're great on social media and they really love it and they're a specialist. And then if you look them up and you actually go to their Twitter page, and in the past I've asked for people's Snapchat and they either haven't had it, or their Twitter, they set it up, they did the standard tweet, maybe a couple of others and some retweets, but if people aren't living and breathing it, then I can't believe that they're going to do it for work. Yeah, I did find one great guy. Unfortunately, he went on to something else, and I found him, just by standard advertising. But normally it's to go to local events and to meet people, because I think you can tell a lot about somebody if they're there in their spare time. They've just spent a whole day sitting in front of a computer, and they've chosen to still go along in the evening to something.
So you're networking ever such a lot.
Yeah.
And do you find that your employees are also perhaps attracting people like them into the organisation, or have they mentioned people that would be suitable to work at Discount Vouchers?
Not yet.
No?
No, it's...
I just wonder, because the like attracts like, with the type of culture that you have, are they also speaking to people who would say, "Oh, I'd like to work there. That sounds really a fun place to work, and also innovative." And you're giving that free rein to the employees that are there already.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really nice place to work. Quite often we'll go out and we'll get a Five Guys for lunch, or get some Krispy Kreme donuts, and we get reasonable bonus structure. So, I think when they talk to their friends about it, they like the sound of it. But, the reality is we haven't had a vacancy come up where that would be, a scenario.
And with regards to them actually chatting, and they sound like they naturally chat online, are they putting stuff out on things like Twitter and Instagram and Snapchat about the company culture there and what a fun place it is to work and why they like working there?
Not very much, to be honest with you. Some of the things that Ross has done that have been more experimental, like, he did a blog post yesterday that's a new venture for him. He really wanted to start learning how to do that in terms of SEO and, the length that needs to be and adding the pictures. And he did put that out on Facebook to his friends and family and said, I'd really like feedback on this, something new I'm trying at work. Other than that, we went to London the other day. We went up Heron Tower. We had some drinks at Sushi Samba, lunch at the Drift. All those things, they're going out on Snapchat, so it's probably a bit more immediate.
That's it. So that's your internal branding that you're talking about on Snapchat that other people are getting to see. Okay, so that all sounds really good. So at the moment, then, with Ross and him doing like the blogging and the discount voucher promotions and everything, he's doing quite a lot of external branding. Do you think you'll get to a point where you will start looking at internal branding, or is it you're not doing that because you don't need to at the moment?
Yeah, at the moment we don't need to. I think if we really wanted to drive growth, we would have to.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the moment it's not on our radar.
And then if you did get to a point where you had to start recruiting people, would you, if somebody come along and they had all the skills, you thought, yep, they've got all the skills there, but they didn't fit the culture that you have there, would you think twice about employing them?
Definitely.
You would?
Yeah.
And why is that?
For me, it's all about personalities and attitudes. So when we did put a job out on Indeed, Kirsty actually interviewed people, and it was the first time that she had done it. And I said, come up with some questions. She asked all the normal ones, and then she said to people, it's one of these awful, I know there's lots of lists around of awful interview questions, but she did say to them, if you could have a superpower, what would it be and why? And
that's a good question.
One really great candidate kind of just sat there. He just, probably for about 2 minutes in complete silence, he couldn't think. And, what we do is very process driven. We've automated it as much as we can. So the day can be quite dry, if we're not doing lots of Facebook Live videos, we are all at computers all day. And so if somebody can't,
just do something
have
off
an
the
imagination,
cuff,
and do something off the cuff. I guess it could have been nerves, but it just, that compared to somebody who's like, as you can see, I've got a Spider-Man pin tie, so I would be, and could just come up with it and have those kind of hypotheticals.
I think my superpower would have to be invisible. I think that would be a great superpower, because then I would go around the whole building and get all the secrets and bring them back to you, Katherine.
See, that tells me quite a lot about your about your personality. Somebody else who was quite good and probably wouldn't have got the job, but just a tip to anybody who does get asked that: don't say to fly because you're really lazy. I was like, okay.
Wow.
Well, he's honest, but
yes, honesty. Yeah, that's good. Oh well. So, what do you think the future is for discount vouchers?
So lots of other people have cottoned on to email marketing, and whereas we were one of the only people going into the inbox probably about 4 years ago, now you'll probably know yourself if you've ever signed up to any voucher sites. We are one of many, so it's really how we try and set ourselves apart. So we try and do some personalization. We try and send it to you at the right time. We try and reorder the offers so that you're going to see the things you're most interested in first. And the same with, the Facebook lead gen and ad targeting. We try and be a little bit clever with all of that, but I think we need to move it across into, social. And a lot of the merchants now want to see their placements in blogs rather than just like, here's an offer, here's another offer, here's a product. Don't forget you put this product in your basket. That's all, again, it's really dry. And they want to see their product placement more in terms of, content. So it's ideal that we've picked the blog back up.
So would you say that you run like a flat organisation there? There's no hierarchy?
It'd probably be unfair to say that, because there is a hierarchy, mainly because I control the strategy and where the budget gets spent. But anybody that has a suggestion, we will try it out. And actually, I couldn't do the social media. I couldn't do the A/B testing that Anna does. I'm not as good with the accounts as Kirsty is. So although we all have our bit that we're in charge of, it would fall apart without any one of those.
Yeah.
So in that sense, it's almost like a flat organisation.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess, in terms of budget, there's still a hierarchy.
So I've heard that you done a little presentation at, was it Sync Norwich, about being lean, a lean startup. So what does that actually mean?
So it really means that you've got this, kind of multi-talented, multitasking team. If you were a startup that had lots and lots of revenue, perhaps you've gone and raised thousands of pounds where you could, grow very quickly, then you could have, a team of social media specialists. You could have a team of account managers going and meeting up with Marks and Spencers and John Lewis every day. So instead, we do all have to have our fingers in all different parts of the company pie. And it's harder work. It's difficult for me to make time to do other things, to do the exploratory discovery research that helps to drive the company forwards. But at the same time, it makes us really, really agile. So, if tomorrow all the accounts turn us off and say, right, we don't want you to do email marketing anymore, then do you know what? I think it would take us a couple of weeks and we would find the next place to be making money and finding another revenue stream.
And that's good for the employees to be able to do that, to be able to hit the ground running, whatever happens.
Yeah, and some people, it might not suit them. It wouldn't be for everybody. It's an uncertain space.
Yeah.
Really.
But do you think that makes them more employable?
I think so, and I've found it myself. People always really seem to like the skill set that I have, and I'm still relatively new to the digital industry. I only started with Tim at Blurt 5 years ago, did a couple of years there, and then I've been here for 3 years. But, really, if you've got your wits about you and you've got a lot of common sense, and you do have to read a lot. You have to read, you have to research, follow TechCrunch, follow all the people that are researching about VR, anybody that you can, because you never know where your next idea might come from.
Absolutely, yeah, and keeping up with your competition all the time and just coming across those really good ideas that you can use within your marketing campaigns. Right, okay. I think you've answered everything, Katherine. That's really good. Sorry about the office dog barking.
Oh, not a problem at all.
Halfway through. But yeah, no, that gives us a good insight to what Discount Vouchers is about and the type of people that you have working there and how innovative it is and also how you give a free rein for people to come up with these ideas. And I think that's really important, being in this digital industry, that you have to have that free rein, otherwise you feel stifled, don't you? And not being able to. I think it's about having the freedom to be able to put something out there and not be scared in case it does fail. Yeah,
I mean, again, it's and that's difficult for people as well. If you've never worked in that sort of environment, I was always very used to a regimented environment where you kind of get told what to do and how to do it. So, it might sound quite difficult and it takes a little bit of getting used to. But yeah, I think, that's where job satisfaction comes from. And I completely accept that, that they're a great team and they might not be here forever. But we've done some WordPress training, Ross has done the social training with you, which I'd really recommend, anybody doing if they want to get into this space, or even businesses that want to increase their, I guess their staff skill set, because you don't always have to hire in for it. They might just have somebody that's naturally really good at it.
Absolutely.
So yeah, and so I accept that they might move on, but for the time being, we've got a really great multitasking team.
Yeah, you have. It really sounds like it. Brilliant. Okay, Katherine, thank you so much, and
that's all right. Thanks,
speak to you soon.